other question I wanted to ask you about that incident in America. I mean, at the time, I remember when I talked to you, I said this corny sort of amateur shrink angle on it, saying that maybe, I mean, it was so blatant, the entire thing, maybe you wanted to declare what you were.
Now I look back and I think there were certain elements that are just undeniable, you know. Apart from the fact that it was Beverly Hills, it was probably the most glamorous toilet in the world. You know, if you're going to do it right and everything.
So what you're saying, in a sense, was that maybe subconsciously you colluded?
Yeah, I think subconsciously that was my way of coming out. And talk about, you know, showbiz or what. That was like, that was the full... I think, not wholly, I mean, if it hadn't happened, I don't think I would have been heartbroken. But I think my subconscious definitely led me into that situation.
Going back to this business about songwriting, you mentioned there the block that you had. I read that you started songwriting and started an interest in music as a young child because of an accident.
What happened was I was about 8 years old, and I was running for lunch with about 1,000 other children, all running as you do for lunch, and tripped to the top of the stairs and hit the bottom of the stairs, slid along this floor, and I don't know if you remember from old school days, but there were those huge radiators that stuck out
some
like
corrugated
that.
ones.
Yeah, and they had like a point all the way across.
Yeah.
And I slid along the floor and hit this radiator and cracked my head open. And there are two things I remember about waking up. One was that all the kids are gone. You know, I'm laying there in a pool of blood and everyone's gone off to lunch. Apart from this one girl who... I had these two girls that fought over me at 7. And I swear to God, I remember their names. Well, actually, I'm not going to name the... I'm not going to name the plainer of the two girls, but there was one relatively... She wasn't plain, but there was one real corker. And they used to fight over me. And the one that was, let's say, a more homely type of girl was there when I woke up, and I had, you know, I was bleeding really badly, and this girl was crying next to me. But the strange thing was, about 2 weeks later, I turned up at home with a violin. Now, I mean, I really wish to God I'd picked a different instrument, but that was the first one that they passed around. So I spent 7 years. I decided after 2 weeks that this was not the instrument for me, and my parents decided, you started so you'll finish. And so I played it for 7 years. Very badly, I would imagine.
But before there'd been no interest in music?
There'd been no interest in music. I'd been obsessed with bugs and insects, and also I was ahead of average at both English and maths. And what happened was, within 6 months, I had no interest in the whole nature thing. I was obsessed with music, and I couldn't do maths.
Amazing, isn't it?
I couldn't do maths, and I've never actually regained my my grip on maths. I've never told my accountants that, actually.
Speaking of your accountants, what's this that I hear that you're actually not going to sell any more records, that you're going to let people on the internet free download?
Yeah. Because
you say you don't need the money?
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, the honest truth is...
How much money do you have to have before you don't need any, George? Is around.